It's nice easing back into old routines. Only now, with extra care. Let's do it for ourselves, for our loved ones, for everyone's safety.
Hurry up, let's go. Let's go.
And staying safe starts at home.
Nice.
From how we work and learn, to the little ways we find joy. If you must head out, take extra care. Making a small effort, being mindful, they go a long way to keeping us all safe. The health of all depends on each one of us. So let's work together, using new tools and keeping to our new habits to protect the people we love. At work, let's all be good team players.
Hi, morning. How are you? Good.
A little distance between us today will be good for us all tomorrow. A little care can protect the one thing that means the world to us. So let's do our part.
The views and opinions expressed by the speaker, host, commentator, or other third party in ARIVA webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass are those of the speaker, host, commentator, or third party and do not necessarily reflect and represent the views and opinions of ARIVA. Furthermore, ARIVA does not warrant, express, or imply the merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose of any product information, service, or process presented by the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and ARIVA specifically disclaims any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any product information, service, or process presented. Finally, material or information presentation, opinion, process, or service by, on any trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise during ARIVA webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass do not constitute or imply ARIVA's endorsement or recommendation of such opinion, process, service, item, or organization.
everyone. Welcome to ARIVA Academy's free live webinar with our topic this afternoon, psychological safety in the workplace. I'm Kate and I'll be your host for the whole afternoon, and I am excited to be learning with everyone today. Now, before I introduce our speaker, I have a few reminders to make sure that this webinar will run smoothly. ARIVA is committed to protecting your privacy, hence stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. So for better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website. And for those of you who are using their mobile gadgets to view this webinar, you can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store so you can download and install the Zoom app. Now, I want to know who here is joining an ARIVA Academy webinar for the first time. If it's your first time, can you type hi here in the chat box? And I am seeing that some of you are already posting where you're watching us from. But let us also know where you are right now, because I was informed that we have participants watching us from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. In particular, we have friends who are from Laguna, Cavite, Rizal, Bulacan, Bataan, Quezon Province, from Bicol, from Pampanga, from Ilocos Norte, from Ilocos Sur, from La Union, from Pangasinan, Cagayan Valley, from Batanes, Isabela, Mindoro, from Aklan, Iloilo, Bohol, Cebu, Negros Occidental, from Leyte, from Samar, Zamboanga, wow, Bukidnon, Davao, Cotabato, Sultan Kudarat, from Jensan, from Agusan del Norte, from Surigao del Sur and Surigao del Norte. Wow, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, magandang hapon, Pilipinas. But that's not all, because we also have participants who are viewing us and they are from out of the country. We have participants today who are watching us from Hong Kong, from Indonesia, from Malaysia, from China, from Bangladesh, from India, from Nepal, Pakistan, from Morocco, from Algeria, from Australia, wow, from Jordan, from Nigeria, and also from Canada. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to ARIVA Academy. We're very happy to have you here. And for those of you who have been with us in the past, welcome back. Welcome back. We are really excited to be with all of you today. Now, I want to make sure that once our speaker is on screen, you will be able to hear the discussion loud and clear. So please type 111 here in the chat box if you can hear me clearly. Type 222. 222 if you can't hear anything. 2121 if you can hear me, but the sound that you're hearing is breaking up or it sounds laggy or choppy. Or you can also type question mark if you don't understand what is happening. We will try to help you out. Okay, I am seeing a lot of 111s. I think I saw, is it a 2121 or a 222? For those of you who are having trouble with their audio, please ask assistance. If you're in the office, ask assistance from your tech guys, or if you're at home, ask someone to help you out with the audio of your gadget so that you can hear the discussion clearly later. Okay, thank you for that. Later, we'll have a 10-minute break and we'll be announcing that. Something exciting will also happen during the break time. Now, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by our administrator during the discussion to avoid interruptions. But for those of you who might have questions, we'll allow the Q&A portion during that time. If you want to ask your question directly to our speaker, you can just click the raise hand button, or you can also type your questions here in the chat box and then I'll be reading them later. Now, an e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to participants who will successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass. And they will be available 3 to 5 days after the e-learning session. By the way, we would like to encourage everyone to turn on their cameras for those of you who are able to. During the whole session, please turn it on. We want to make this webinar really interactive, and it will also be proof of your attendance. Thank you. Please help us build and improve our service with your comments and feedback. You can scan this QR code that will bring you to the feedback form. At the end of our session, please fill out the form and then send it back to us. We'll greatly appreciate it. There you have it. Now I am excited to introduce our speaker to everyone. So here goes. Our speaker is a psychology graduate from St. Paul College of Manila. She chose to pursue a career in HR to help organizations and individuals achieve optimum performance through innovative training programs, results based action learning projects, webinars, and breakthrough coaching and mentoring. She is an active member of the Philippine Society for Training and Development and an assessor for the prestigious Gawad Maestro Awards 2016. She is also a part of the International Relations and a contributing writer at the People Management Association of the Philippines and PSTD Magazine. Our speaker believes that training should be fun yet powerful to push people to action. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming our speaker, Ms. April Salonga.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Kate, for that wonderful introduction.
Hi, good afternoon, April.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to everybody here on our virtual room.
There, we are excited to listen to you.
Yes, and
And
I'm
the
very
500 participants.
I know. We have 500 participants in this virtual room, and I think we have more via our streaming, right? On
Yes, yes.
also on YouTube. So let's make this really, really memorable and meaningful for everybody. And with that, I will pull up my slides already. Okay, hang on. Just give me a little bit of time to share with you my slides. Again, welcome everybody in our workshop for today. Thank you very much, Kate, for doing the introduction for me. And thank you everybody for those of you who are turning on their cameras. That's the best way to augment the session that we're having today. At least I'll be able to see some of you, how you react. And at least I can also gauge if I need to slow down a little bit or I need to clarify some things, just basing it on your reactions via the camera. You can also, as Kate mentioned, please, I encourage you to use the reaction button or also chat with me, okay, via the Zoom application, okay? So for those without camera, that's fine. Don't worry. It's all right. We can manage without it as well, okay? So again, welcome and good afternoon, everyone.
April, excuse me. I think I'm getting a lot of feedback that your volume is a bit low. So can we
No.
adjust the volume of your microphone probably
Okay.
so they can hear you clearly?
All right. So my microphone, it's actually this one.
Okay.
Okay. Is it better now if I put it so yeah, nearer my is it better? Hello?
So, for me, it is okay, but
Hmm.
or if you'd rather not use that mic, would it still be okay? Or you
Um
really need to use the
yes,
mic
I think I need to use the microphone because the sound will be even softer if I use the
if you don't
laptop.
use it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
If I use the laptop microphone.
Okay. So
Okay?
probably just position it somewhere nearer your mouth so that they can
Yeah.
hear.
There are some people commenting it's okay.
It's okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. So for those of you who might have difficulty in hearing me, maybe you can also use your headphones so that it will be direct to you. All right? Sige. Okay. So again, I am overwhelmed by the number of people in today, and I'm really excited and sharing that this is really, really good. Okay, hang on. Hello?
Yes. Oh, I think some are saying that you're lagging
Okay,
or
am I
breaking
back?
up.
Am
But on my end, it's okay.
Okay. All right, all right. Okay, again, I'm just really so probably my computer is also very excited for all of you. That's why it's kind of nervous as well. So again, I am really, really grateful and honored to be here and all 500 of you in this virtual room. That makes me believe that you are willing to take that first step in making our work environment productive and happier. Is that correct? Can I get a heart or thumbs ups reaction? Are you here to make your offices, your work environment even more productive and happy? Ayan, yes. Okay, so I can see like 45 hearts and 21 plus thumbs up with that. And because of that, I know each of you has a very special reason or a unique situation in the office. That's why you chose to attend this learning session. And I want to get to know you better. So let's start off with answering this question. What specific challenge would you like to solve in the workplace, thinking that using the strategy of psychological safety will help? Okay, so you can tell me a specific situation, a challenge, or just an observation about your current state in the organization. This can actually be just one word like attrition, or maybe you have conflicts in the office. So let me know. Let's read it out. What kinds of challenges? Ayan, no? We can see culture fitting, work-life balance, recruitment is also a problem, unnecessary talks, work-life balance, the stress, integrity, politics. Okay, there are a lot of people mentioning about work-life balance, miscommunication, retention, yes, culture, being demotivated, office politics, okay, the boundaries, relationship to manager and people. All right, okay, just keep it coming. So as we can see, I already saw some of you mentioned about retention, the attrition, some conflicts. How about being productive or being innovative and creative? Is that also some of your problems at the moment? Yes, I am. Okay. So as we have seen in this simple activity, we notice that a lot of us are probably in the same journey or in the same storm. In fact, I have seen all your profiles and I know that there is a lot of wisdom in this room because we have different industries from banking, a lot from insurance, BPO, retail, manufacturing. We even have some from the government offices. A while ago, I was reading there were a lot of people from the academe, universities, and in different designation or position, from coordinators, assistants, supervisors, managers, up to the vice president, heads, and directors of each organization. So what we can realize here is that whether you are a big company, small company, an emerging company, the answers in the chat box, as we have read, are relatively the same. So for us to maximize the wisdom in this room, I encourage you to ask questions, share your thoughts, and participate fully through the use of our chat box, reaction button, the Q&A, which we will do after this session. So let's just make it fun and interactive. And as for me, I promise to deliver the following. So here is our learning session objectives. Define psychological safety. Of course, we need to have a baseline definition or a general understanding of what psychological safety is and what are the things we are looking for when it is applied in the workplace. Second, we need to understand stress. And as we have seen in the chat box, we mentioned a lot about stress, having miscommunication, the work-life balance. So it is also important for us to understand where stress is coming from and how psychological safety can help. Because if, for example, you cannot share your ideas freely, you can't speak your mind because there's friction, these stressful situation will make your organization have a very toxic culture, and that is not we want. Okay, we want people to be involved in really having high levels of empathy. So that is the only way for us to have a really, really good and safe work environment if each one of us are concerned also of how others would feel. Okay? And if not, then the dynamics of the entire organization will be very difficult. And lastly, of course, I will not let this day pass without sharing some very easy and practical tips that you can do right away to jumpstart your journey towards psychological safety. So as a disclaimer, since this is just a 2-hour session, treat it as a door for opportunities for you to improve some of the things in the organization. But do not assume that this will be like a magic pill that will solve all your problems. Not This training is not for that, or this session is not for that. You need something more, okay? Psychological safety is a culture that you try to build. So of course, our journey starts today, and we can move forward into more detailed discussion per company if you are interested to take action after this session. All right, so with that, let's proceed. So how do we define psychological safety? Basically, or the very gist of it, is creating a safe work environment. Safe work environment meaning to say that we can freely collaborate with each other without judgment. We can talk through our differences, making our everyday work life really easy. And of course, having productive discussion instead of having like really long meetings and yet we are not productive. According to Dr. Amy Edmondson, psychological being nice.
April? Okay, I think she's experiencing technical problem. Okay, she's back. Hi, April. You're on mute.
Um, is this okay already? Or
Yes, yes, you're back. Welcome back.
I'm so, I'm so sorry about that because the weather is a little bit crazy today. So
Yes,
probably it's the connection.
could be.
Okay, okay. So let me just share back my slides.
Yes, please.
Okay, hang on. Mhm. All right. So is it right, Kate? I stopped right here.
There, we can see your slides now.
Yep. Okay. So I'll just again define what psychological safety is according to Dr. Amy Edmondson. So psychological safety isn't about being nice. So if you think that being or having a psychological safe environment is being in harmony with everyone all the time, let me just stop you right there. Again, psychological safety isn't about being nice, but it is about giving candid and really honest feedback, for some openly admitting mistakes, which is really very difficult to do, and I'm sure you have experienced that, and again learning from each other. So if we have psychological safety in the workplace, there is a learning culture that is being cultivated, or it is being emphasized. So for those of you who doesn't know Amy Edmondson, well, Amy Edmondson is an award-winning Novartis professor of leadership and management at the Harvard Business School. So what she does is that she studies teaming, psychological safety, and organizational learning. And her articles have been published in numerous academic and management outlets, including Administrative Science Quarterly, Academy of Management and Journal, and Harvard Business Review, California Management Review. So this lady has really, really good credentials in terms of psychological safety. In fact, some of the concepts that I will be sharing with you came from her book, The Fearless Organization, Creating Psychological Safety in the Workplace for Learning and Innovation. So in this book, it was actually translated into 15 languages because it offers a very practical guide for organizations who are serious about success in the modern economy. And again, I just want to emphasize that psychological safety, it's not a one-time thing. Like, for example, you just do a huddle or lunch and learn about psychological safety, and then you expect everybody to practice it. It's not like that. It's a long journey. It's something that involves change management and also really cultivating and nurturing that culture. And it doesn't happen overnight because psychological safety is a shared belief held by members of a team that the group is a safe place for taking risks. So, with that being said, let me just check, okay, on how you understand psychological safety so far. So in the chat box, I have this activity. Okay, so what you can do is just write down in the chat box the items which you think show psychological safety in the workplace. Okay, so we have there motivated employees, collaborative teams, compassionate leaders. Okay, celebrates creativity. All right, very good. Okay, so it's really easy to spot the like very basic indicators of a safe workplace. You have motivated employees who are happy and willing to help each other. Everyone's being really productive instead of having an organization where everybody's just waiting for each other. I remember when it comes to compassionate leaders, I had this boss previously who I think really epitomized being compassionate because one time I went to a very big account. No, it's a client meeting that I need to close, and unfortunately during that time I wasn't able to close the account. So I was so sad. You know the feeling like when your boss asked you to do something and then you went there and then you didn't get it, right? So it really makes you sad and a bit, I was thinking, oh no, when I go back to the office, I might get scolded or something like that. But you know what? This particular boss that I have was very compassionate. We had a talk, and I really didn't expect what he said to me because when I sat down and to talk about the client that I lost, I was really very apologetic. I'm saying, I'm sorry, I didn't close the account, boss. I promise to do better next time. And I'm really, really sorry that I lost the account. And I was really nervous and everything. And he was like, he was cool. He was saying, oh, don't worry, April. We still have a lot of leads. So I was expecting that he will be mad or disappointed at least, but he chose not to do that. And up until this day, I remember that feeling, the feeling that I felt when he said that. While I was expecting that he will be mad, but he wasn't. And he was very understanding. And he even told me that, okay, so tell me what happened. Let's go through it one by one. And maybe we can adjust something. Maybe we can still do something about it. So I really appreciated that. And I never forgot that experience. So as a leader also, I realized that sometimes we need compassion to show that we still trust our people and to empower them because that happened to me. I was so down, but because my boss was so cool about it and he was very supportive about it, I felt empowered. Another thing that it's good to note here are collaborative teams. Okay, people naturally enjoy working with each other if we can collaborate. In fact, there's a study that a lot of millennials really value collaboration. And you can observe that in how they do their work or For example, some of the influencers on the internet, right? They like to collaborate with each other, feature each other in each other's website, something like that. So people enjoy collaborative efforts. So it's very important for us also to really encourage people to do this. Okay, so later on, I'll actually tell you more about the steps on how we can help our teams collaborate better. And lastly, celebrate creativity. So this refers back to Dr. Amy's definition of psychological safety, that if you celebrate creativity, it means that you also are open for people to take risks and make mistakes. Okay? So there is really a very deep value of trust. If, for example, in your organization, you see that you are open to creativity. So if that is happening, okay, if that is happening, it means that you have high levels of trust to one another and also to your leaders, to your peers, and even it can also go up until your end users and customers. So if you are creative, if for example, you're not the type of organization that, oh, we have done that before, this is already our system, why change it? Okay, if you're like that, then you are not really practicing creativity or innovation. All right. So when it comes to psychological safety, there are some key elements or indicators that we must have, okay, for us to call ourselves a psychologically safe workspace. Okay, so these are the indicators that the team members feel safe sharing ideas. Unlike sometimes, I don't know about you, but there are some meetings that I have attended that sometimes people don't really speak up or share their ideas. They just let the leader talk. Okay, so that simply means that it's not a safe work environment if that happens a lot. People also can freely ask questions without being judged. So if you have this, then your office environment is a little bit safe. Also, this one, the fourth bullet is actually very hard to do. Okay, admitting uncertainty, right? If for example, your boss will ask you about the current situation or current progress of your project and you're unsure, sometimes it's hard to say, oh, well, I'm not sure how this will work or something like that. You don't want to admit that you don't know. Okay, but if your office, if your work environment welcomes that, and of course the after result of that would be collaborative effort from everybody, then it's nice that you have that in the organization, that you can freely admit that you're uncertain and yet you will not be judged about it. Another big element or key element in having psychological safety is being in touch with one another's feelings. That's why in the previous slides, I emphasized that if we have psychological safety, most of our members or the employees show high empathy. And I read also in a book called Bringing Out the Best in People by Alan McGinnis. He said there that virtually everyone is a motivator. Okay, in one way or another, we motivate each other. And we cannot do that if we don't expect the best in people. So if you want to see the best in the organization, you have to make team members, again, feel safe sharing ideas, not being afraid to speak up. They are allowed to ask questions without judgment. They can also admit uncertainties, and most of the people in your organization are in touch with one another's feelings. So with that, it really boils down to empowering people and making them feel safe to take risks. Now, the next question is, what are the things that we need to watch out for? Okay, so again, let me emphasize that psychological safety is not about being nice. This is really like a fake psychological safety. If you're just being nice, no, you just want to get along, but it's not really something for productivity. Because I remember in my first job, my boss there emphasizes that we can argue sometimes as long as we just focus on the issue, but not on the person, right? If you don't agree to the idea of the other person, you should say something about it and then talk about it, all right? Or talk through it. Okay, so psychological safety emphasizes that it's not really just being nice, okay? It's also not about the personality factor. Like some leaders might be nicer than others. Some leaders are really just very strict and you don't want to work with them. Or some are introverts and extroverts and you just can't relate to them. So it's not about that. Regardless of your personality, as long as you don't lower your performance standards, that is okay. That is fine. Okay? So when I was starting my career in HR, so I got promoted the first time and I was managing a few people. I decided, of course, because it's first time, so I decided to go there to the route of being nice. Well, one of the reasons why I chose that because they are my friends previously. They are my peers. So it's very difficult for me after the promotion to like ask them to do things, right? So I just chose to be nice and talk to them nicely, ask favors, even if it's actually part of the job. So after a few months of doing that, I realized it's not effective because at the end of the day, I felt like I was doing everything. Okay. And they don't have enough what maybe respect for the position or something like that, and we are not being productive because of that. So again, psychological safety is more of being honest with each other and challenging each other to be better, rather than if you think about it as getting along with everybody. So it's not that, all right? It's just having a more honest conversation, productive discussions that lead to collaboration and effective work environment. The bottom line here, especially for those of you who are in the learning and development or talent development department, your organization should have high learning and performance. Okay, so if you have that, then we can actually safely say that you are also practicing the safe work environment. Now, of course, we already know what it is to have a safe working environment. Let's see the contrast of it. So how do we detect if there is unsafe work environment? Okay, so I will let you read through it, and I'm pretty sure you are somewhat familiar for some of the items here. No, some organizations, especially when I was doing consulting, I would get inquiries. Can you do team building for us? Why? Because we're not communicating well. Some of our team members are sometimes passive aggressive, or sometimes they are sarcastic, or there is an exclusive in groups, like some of you I think mentioned a while ago about silos. Okay, like we're a different team, or a different department competes with another department, or toxic work environments such as talking negatively about others, right? Or in meetings, there would be some people who would be interrupting all the time, not letting other people really speak their minds. There's also information hoarding sometimes. Okay, so we observe that there's turf wars and excessive hierarchy. So if this is happening in your organization or even in your small teams, I know, and I have been consulting with some other companies, the problem comes with having an exclusive in groups. For example, in a small team of 5 people or 10 people, the other 5 will be always together because they get along, and the other 5 will be always together because they also get along, something like that. So this very very small nuances can actually bring annoyance in the organization, or have that eventually it can affect you, the dynamics of the company, in the way we coordinate with each other. Like, right, for example, I remember there was this one organization that I consulted with, and the sales people would don't like to talk to the finance people, or they would say that the finance is asking too many documents, and they cannot release our advance money or something like that. So sometimes departments don't like to talk to each other. So if you see this in your organization, then we have a problem. Why? Because again, if you try to go back to the definition of a safe working environment, or a psychologically safe working environment, we need to have that open discussion, honest discussion. And definitely we cannot do that if we have all of these items written here. All right. So now that we have determined or distinguished the two, okay, can you help me? Okay. How would you rate your organization's practice of psychological safety? 5 being the highest level. Okay. So there is a poll right there. 5 meaning you feel that the organization prioritizes your mental and emotional well-being. And lowest is 1, meaning to say that there's no such thing in your office. So there's always like very toxic. Okay, sige. So let's wait for at least 50% of participants to answer that, while you are all reflecting on the things that we have mentioned. Results that we have so far. All right. So as you can see on your screen, well, there are like 48% of you chose number 3, which is actually neutral. I want to find out why it is neutral, okay? And only 6% said that they do have psychological safety. All right. Thank you so much. Let's just stop sharing. All right. Okay, so let's use this as a discussion point. So for those of you, and if you are willing to share, especially a lot of you said it's number 3. I want to understand the number 3 because that is neutral. Kate, can we unmute someone if they want to share something? They can actually raise their hand.
Yes, yes. Just click the raise hand button so they will be allowed to unmute their mics.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so please, I just want to understand, okay, how our survey or poll came about. So most of you, 48%, that's a lot, said you're at number 3. So yeah, anybody who would like to share observations in your organization? Don't worry, this is a safe learning space. Again, I want to maximize the wisdom, as I've said in our first few slides. I want to maximize the wisdom in this room because we have like a lot of participants from different industries. So let's try to learn from each other. Anybody? Raise hand.
Don't be shy.
Yep. I told you this will be interactive, right?
Hello.
Hello, yes, may nag-unmute na. Hi. Ayan, kindly unmute, Princess. Well, yun yung nasa name. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Kindly introduce yourself. Hello. Okay, Kate, I saw a comment here in our chat. The boss is watching, that is why neutral. we Now we have to really address that.
We have someone raising her hand.
Yeah,
There's
Jean.
Jean.
Okay, go ahead, Jean. Okay, Jean, kindly introduce yourself first.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Jean Gutierrez from Pangasinan.
And what did you rate your company or organization?
Um, Neutral.
Neutral. Okay, so kindly explain to me why neutral.
Maybe because at some point, they show uh, the things that was shown in the slide a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's I feel safe in sharing my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I don't understand something, I can feel free to ask questions. But at
Okay.
some point here in our team, there's still those people or my co-employees uh, who
Don't
are
don't do it.
mm, mm, mm. That's why. But at
Okay.
least our bosses, they give us the chance. They
Mm-mm.
explain it very well why the uh what do you call this one? Mm, why they come up with the idea or the uh ano na, decision.
Okay. So your
Ah,
bosses are able to explain why the decisions are made, and
yes,
they already like acknowledge the sharing of ideas, or if you have suggestions,
yes.
things like that. It's just that you rated your organization 3 because not everybody practices like sharing
Yes.
their ideas. They still
Mm,
feel a little bit hesitant in doing
yes.
so. Okay. So if like I just like a follow-up question on that. Why do you think so? Is what's the factor why they still feel scared in sharing or afraid to speak up?
Mm, maybe they're also afraid of the consequences that they might suffer.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Jean, for
Thank
being
you,
very
ma'am.
candid and helping us out here. And I agree with you. Um, Again, let me emphasize, the road to psychological safety is not an overnight thing. It's not automatic. You need to really cultivate the culture, nurture the culture, and each and every one should have a buy-in to that kind of thing. So it takes time to really get to used to that. Here also on the chat, Chriselle mentioned that until now there are still heads who manage and not lead. There is a really big difference between managing and leading. Managing is more of telling you what to do. Okay, it's really like that. Managing is telling you what to do, controlling you, do this, do that, step by step. But leading is really different. It's really inspiring, influencing, empowering you to also make your own decisions. So if that is, and she also mentioned the style is so 70s or 80s, or very baby boomers. Okay. And today in this world, as you noticed already, we are more open. Like we respect each other's expertise, right? And then, okay, wait, there are still some interesting answers here. So probably you guys are just a little bit shy to unmute yourself, but here about from Mary, she mentioned about a prevailing status quo. See, that is also a challenge for everyone if only a few people would like to change, right? So it's it's like a habit. It's like an addiction sometimes, you know. It's a habit. If you're already used to doing that and then you want to change something, it's going to be very difficult. But just like any habit, if you do it every day up until a certain point, no, for example, 21 days, as they say in study, if you do something or you want to change a habit and you do it for 21 days, eventually it will stick. But for organization, it will take a little bit longer. Okay, it's not that easy. And then there is also from Darwin here. I was watching the whole time. My friend shared the link. Ay, hindi pala to. All right, hang on. And then there's resistance. Okay, ayan. From Joy, there is resistance to change. Okay, so there is resistance to change, which is very apparent, especially for very traditional organizations. Okay, so it's very difficult to get the buy-in also from your stakeholders, so much so that it will be very difficult to get also the buy-in from the people you work with. Another comment here, some aspects are being raised, discussed, and addressed, but not all. It's being discussed, but just in words, not in action. All right. Thank you very much, Lyra, for pointing this out, because that is what I am actually talking about here. You know, after this session, probably you'll know a lot of things. You try to propose some changes. The boss probably will agree, or some of your office mates would be, oh, that's nice. Okay, I'm excited to do it. But the question is, how do you implement? So psychological safety is not only like knowing it, it's really doing it and putting systems in place. So there are a lot of strategies that we can do, which I will mention later, such as the coaching and mentoring culture, your employee engagement efforts. What are you doing with your employee engagement efforts, right? Is it just lunch and learn, kapihan, one-on-ones? Ano pa? What else can we do? All right. And then from Randolph, the level of toxicity is so high. Oh, no, that this one is very, very difficult to address, especially if all is the leaders, the managers are also used to that kind of situation. Okay, they don't listen to suggestions, only listen to themselves. See, basing it on the definition that we have mentioned a while ago, having or understanding the feelings of others is also very important in psychological safety. So if that is happening in your organization, that you feel that you are not being listened to, then it's very, very difficult to change it. And then the violent reaction, or what I refer to as the judgment. Okay, if for example you share your thoughts or you suggest something and then there's like violent reaction, like, oh, why are you suggesting that? Okay, what's wrong? Okay, nothing's wrong with me or nothing's wrong with the system. And then there's also, Erwin said about the diverse beliefs, because we have a multi-generational workforce right now. So that's another factor. So see, it's different problems, different factors that really influences the safety or the feeling or the environment or the culture that we are in. And then, okay, Lailani said about double-faced coworkers. Okay, very interesting. And I believe, yeah, some of us might be experiencing that, because not because that they want to. Okay, I still believe that there is altruism in each and every one of us. Maybe they have a bad experience in the past. That's why they cannot show their real self. So we also have to be very understanding of other people. And we should start with ourselves. Like, instead of thinking that they're double-faced, maybe try to talk to them and get to know why are they like that or something like that. And then, okay, I'm liking this now, Kate, because they are really engaging in the chat. Marian said, sometimes employees want to implement change, but they themselves don't cooperate. Exactly, right? Here in the Philippines, for example, we are in a meeting and then someone says a great idea. What will you do? You tell that person, oh, that's a great idea, do it. And you won't even like pitch in or like tell the person, okay, that's a great idea, I'll help you. So we have to also notice ourselves. All right? We have to also like, okay, that's a great idea. I want to help too. Don't point at him. All right? And some, well, I for Kevin, he is very lucky that the coworkers that he has are really good. And then there's adjustments, and then Leah said, manager, listen to your suggestion, but implementing it, or a credit grabber, oh no. Okay, so that's a very very problematic situation as well. And then there is also culture difference. Yes, thank you, Paula, for also mentioning that, because some of us might interpret things differently because of our culture. So sometimes for other people, they're just straightforward. Okay, but for others, he's being arrogant, okay, or being aggressive. So sometimes the culture difference also has an effect on that. And then asking for suggestions but immediately shut you down. Yeah, and I've experienced that also, Crystal, in the past, especially when I was still younger. Sometimes I think, as I understand it now, you need also to develop yourself. You need to build that credibility for people to listen to you. So don't get offended if in case that happens, because I think everybody goes through it. Just like me, when I was starting, some people, just shut me down. Or sometimes when they see me, I look really young, and then they will say, "Are you our facilitator?" And then I feel like they're not sure that I can do the job, even if I've been doing this for like a few years now. Okay, yeah, and Richelle also mentioned about the age gap between employee, the different beliefs, understanding, and also not only the age gap, but the stage of life that they are in. One example I can give you is that this organization that I'm consulting with, like, all the single people are grouped together, and the married and those with kids are more grouped together. So they have that similar experiences. That's why they can relate to each other better. But in a collaborative environment, that shouldn't be the case. Okay, that it should be like you can actually have lunch together regardless of the age gap or the situation in life that you have. And also myths mentioned about based on observation. Some people threaten to your ideas. Yes, especially if you are both gunning for the promotion. So sometimes that's also the case. Or the boss doesn't want to also teach you a lot. Or being, as we have mentioned a while ago, the hoarding of information. Okay, and then trust issues, exactly, Raymond. That's why I'm telling you guys, if we really have like open communication, we can collaborate with each other, we can work through the conflict with ease. It means that the organization has a deep level of trust. Okay? And yes, Jadine, not owning up to mistakes can, or blaming, finger pointing, can really be a toxic situation to be in. So how do we address that? Okay, so I will tell you more about it after our short icebreaker, I think, break for 10 minutes. Okay, thank you again for sharing your thoughts via chat, and I hope that the conversation is very helpful for us to unearth what it really means to have a psychologically safe workplace. All right. So I turn the proceeding back to Kate for now.
Thank you so much, April. Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. So now we're going on a break, and as I've mentioned a while ago, we're doing something exciting because first we have 6 participants here who are celebrating their birthday today. So let us greet Gina, Evangeline, Gemma, Roberto, Ariel, and Elaine. Happy, happy birthday! Wow! See, they're spending the afternoon of their birthday with us, learning with all of us. So thank you so much for being with us. Are we going to expect a treat from all of you? Thank you. Again, thank you for being with us and happy birthday. God bless you all. More blessings for the six of you. Okay, I'll move on now. This time, Ariva is in the mood to give away prizes. So we are going to play a game called Guess the Movie. This is how the game goes. We will be showing you short clips or short trailers of a certain movie. Now, this is what you have to do. You have to be very fast in typing the title of that movie. It should be the complete and correct title of that movie. Be the first one, and if you're the first one, you will receive 200 pesos from ARIVA Academy. There you go. 100 pesos will be sent directly to your GCash account. Ayan. So I hope you guys are excited. Let us do a trial run, okay, just for you guys to get the feel of the game. Let's watch this movie, and I want you to start guessing the title of this movie.
You're impossibly fast and strong. You gotta give me some answers.
I'd rather hear your theories.
I have considered radioactive spiders and kryptonite.
It's all superhero stuff, right? What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
Say it out loud. Say it.
Vampire.
Are you afraid?
No.
Wow, okay, I am having a hard time catching up here in the chat box. The answers that I got: Twilight Saga, what else? Dracula. Someone said Dracula, but the most of you typed Twilight. Let us see. What is the title of that movie? It is Twilight. So you guys get the game already. Again, should be complete and correct title. Even the spelling, because I'm seeing a lot of you guys probably has some typo. So make sure when you type, it should be correct. Okay, so the next clip will give you 200 pesos. So let's watch it.
I saw water. Death by water. And I saw new life. A great flood is coming. We build a vessel to survive the storm. We build an ark.
Mama! There's them!
There you go. Okay, the answers. Someone typed Sadako. Did I see Sadako? Aquaman. Underwater. There's Noah. There's Lord of the Rings. What else? Any other answers? Mostly Noah and Aquaman. Do we have a winner? Let's see. And it is Noah. The title of the movie is Noah. So we have our first winner. We have, let me just really check here in the chat box. Joanne, congratulations. You will receive 200 pesos. This is what you have to do, Joanne. Please send your GCash account number to ARIVA Academy Philippines here in the chat box. Please look for ARIVA Academy Philippines and then send your GCash account number privately, okay? Don't send it to everyone, okay? Just send it privately and expect your prize in a little while. Now, Joanne, because you've won already, you won't be allowed to join the game anymore, okay? So that the other participants will have a chance in getting the last 200 pesos that we're giving away this afternoon. Congratulations again. And to the rest of our participants, one more 200 pesos is at stake. It might be yours. Let's watch this next clip.
You are not in Kansas anymore. You are on Pandora.
You should see your faces.
We have an indigenous population called the Na'vi. They are very hard to kill.
This is why we're here. Because this little gray rock sells for 20 million a kilo. Their village happens to be resting on the richest deposit, and they need to relocate. Those savages are threatening our whole operation.
There you go. Wow, a lot of answers. And we only have one answer. I'm seeing Avatar. Avatar. So do we have a winner for this round? Let's see. And yes, the title of that movie is indeed Avatar. So the first one, he's really fast in typing. He was able to type it very fast. We have Jason Javier. Jason, congratulations! Who are our winners? So Jason, please send your GCash account number to ARIVA Academy Philippines here in the chat box. Again, send it privately and expect your prize. Congratulations to Joy. Congratulations to Jason. And thank you to all of our participants who joined this game. I hope you guys enjoyed that game. Now I'll move on with my other announcements. Stay on top of our insights and updates. Stay connected with ARIVA Academy. Join ARIVA Academy's Facebook group. You can also like ARIVA Academy's Facebook page. Follow ARIVA Academy in LinkedIn and also visit our website www.ariva.com.ph. And I am inviting everyone to be a part of the growing ARIVA Academy Viber community. Scan the QR code and that will bring you to our Viber community. See you there. Now, for those of you who might have missed the free live webinars that we had since 2020, you can all catch them in our YouTube channels. Subscribe to our channels, ARIVA Academy and ARIVA Talks. I also would like to invite you to some of our upcoming learning events. Here are some of them. We have the Effective Workplace Discipline. This will be tomorrow, October 26th already. Another one is the People and Labor Relations Forum 2022. Season 1 will be on Friday, October 28, and Season 2 will be on October 29, on Saturday. We've invited a lot of speakers for the People and Labor Relations Forum, so we're excited to have you there with us. Another free live webinar will happen on November 4. This time the topic is strategic workforce planning in a post-COVID world. And the next one is on November 8, actionable employee retention strategies for keeping your best talent. So for these free live webinars, you already know what to do. Give us a call here at the office so we can register you. On November 9, we have our winning sales emails, how to write the perfect sales emails that get responses. Project management essentials for non-project managers on November 9 as well. The 7S workshop, re-engineering the basics of good housekeeping on November 10. The 10th essentials of effective logistics operations and warehouse management on November 11. And then on November 16, we have fundamentals of cash flow and working capital management, cash flow analysis, budgeting, and forecasting. This will be on November 16. And then the following day, we have our production planning, managing inventory and stock control operations. On November 18, pricing and revenue strategies for better sales margin and business profits. DOLE Department Order 174, updates on contractualization. This will be the topic on November 25. And for those of you who are interested in inviting our speakers to conduct a program exclusive for your team or for your group, ARIVA Academy can help you with that. Just give us a call or send us an email. Let us know what topic you have in mind. Here are some of the programs that we offer, but we have a lot more than that, okay? So again, as I've mentioned, email us or give us a call. We'll help you partner with the right speaker under ARIVA Academy Speakers Bureau for that. There you go. Now I'll be giving the floor back to April so she can continue her discussion.
Thank you very much, Kate. And I'm pretty sure, based on my observation on the chat box, they were very happy, especially with the game and the GCash.
Yes!
Yes, sana all. All right, so let me pull back my slides, and based on where we left off, right? You are sharing with me a lot of things that are happening in your organization. And ultimately, if that continues to happen, Sean, what will happen to you? stressed, right? You'll be stressed. Hello? Ayan. Kate, can you hear me? I'm seeing
Yes.
yeah, okay. I'm seeing
Yes,
a
we can hear you.
notification on Zoom like I was disconnected, but yeah, I think I'm on, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So
You're still.
again, based on our discussion before Kate took over, all the things that you are saying would actually have an effect in our health, physically because of the stress, emotionally because, you know, if for example you cannot share your thoughts, you cannot share your ideas or pitch in, so that really takes toll on your confidence and how you also grow as an individual or as a professional. So in stress management in the workplace, the things that we need to address are the conflicts that are happening. But let me ask you, this is just a very quick question. No? How many, okay, in the chat box, can you share with me, just a guess, how many people are stressed worldwide? Okay, can you guess how many are experiencing so much stress in the workplace? 90%? Billions? Okay. 99? Wow. That's like alcohol. 99% kills germs. Okay. Okay. 98,000 with char. Stress is part. Yep. Okay. Okay. 100%. Okay. For some, 33% people. Okay. I think some of the people here are using Google to find out. Okay. So in the latest, well, not too late. It's not too recent. I mean, the 2020 statistics said that it's about 98 million and still counting. And 33% of those people reported that they feel extreme stress. So I want to emphasize that maybe a lot of us are undergoing stress, but the way we respond is different because it's also about the personality. If you're like an optimistic person to begin with, then maybe a little bit of stress is okay. But for other people, maybe they can't handle it well. Also, 77% of people experience stress have actually physical manifestations of it. So whether that is frozen shoulder, right? So who among you here, raise hand if you have like, you feel like after a work day, your back is so painful, no, your neck is so painful or your eyes are painful. Ayan, all right. So I have a few people raising their hands. Okay, so if you're super stressed, you actually can feel the effect of it physically. And then not too far from 77%, 73% of people have impact, who are undergoing stress have mental health problems, or for example, they are really very anxious, they can't function, they cannot focus. So it actually impacts the well-being, okay, their well-being and their productivity in general. Also, if you're stressed all the time, 48% of these people have trouble in sleeping. So who among you here are insomniacs or doesn't sleep anymore? Okay, a lot more people raise their hands over that question. Okay, so see, that is how stress impacts our lives. And we can do something about it actually if our work environment is a little bit better or happier. Okay, so let me just also share with you some definition of what stress is. So it's a non-specific response. It's a condition or a feeling experienced when the person perceives that demands exceed the personal and social resources the individual is able to mobilize. In short, it also is an excessive or inappropriate activation of our body's fight or flight response. Again, as I've mentioned, we are not the same in terms of how we respond to stress. Others would be just okay with it. Okay, hang on. Is my screen visible? Because I saw someone saying that they cannot see it.
We can see your screen.
All right. Okay. See.
Yes.
All right. So one thing that we can do as HR practitioners is I've mentioned a while ago about the monthly check-ins or the huddles that you can have with your team, either one-on-one or in groups. That would really, really help, because asking a person how he or she is already something that will help the person ease the overwhelming stress that they are experiencing. So just showing the empathy again, okay, making sure that they are being listened to, that already helps. And then another thing that I actually advocate is having coaching or mentoring time. Okay, especially for those of you who are leading teams and then you have new members, it's very important for you to coach them and mentor them, especially in the first few months in their job, so that they can adjust smoothly or transition smoothly. All right. So for us to understand stress even further, I actually divide the causes into three. Okay. So common
Excuse me, April.
cause.
I think a lot of our participants are giving us feedback that they're not able to see your screen. Would it be okay if we stop sharing and then share it again, just to really make sure that they are able to catch up?
All right. So I will do that. Just okay. Hang on. Hang on. Share. And then, okay. How about this?
There, we're seeing it. So
Okay.
our other participants, please let us know if you're also able to see it. Okay, they're seeing it now. Oops. I think what happened? It's not.
Sorry, it's raining. It's really raining so hard in my area right now. Okay. So I think the signal or the internet connection is okay now, Kate.
Yes, but we're not seeing your slides now.
Okay, let me just share again.
Okay, please.
Okay. All right. So Kate, is it okay?
Yes, we
All
can
right.
see it.
Okay. So as I was saying, there are a lot of causes or common causes of stress, but I only divide them into three so that it's easier for us to um, take note of it. So definitely there's internal meaning to say the personality of the person. Maybe he or she is very competitive. So if you are very competitive, type A personality, dominant, most of the time because of that personality, you tend to gravitate towards stressful situations. You like to be challenged, okay? So that's also a factor. Your psychological state, maybe in your personal life, like if you are getting married, okay, you're stressed, more stressed because of all the preparation. Or if there's a sad event, maybe someone passed away, or maybe you had recently had a heartbreak, okay, so sometimes your psychological state also um can affect the stress levels that you have, where it will also affect the work that you are doing. And of course, the physiological, which I already mentioned a while ago. Second, common cause of stress is external, meaning to say this is something that we cannot control. The inflation, we cannot control that, and it's very stressful, I know. It's very difficult to buy some things right now because a lot of the items have like extra, it's extra expensive right now. Political, the daily hassles, the traffic, just right about now the internet connection sometimes, so it's kind of stressful if it fails you. So that's external, and the external ones, of course, we cannot do anything about that. Interpersonal, okay, which is actually related to what we are talking about here. Interpersonal is all about relationships, your friends, your family, the work that you do, the community you belong in. So sometimes these interactions cause you stress. And we have already discussed about all the things that might affect the interpersonal relationships, like not listening or interrupting in meetings or credit grabbing. So all those things cause stress. And if we are so stressed, it's very difficult to be productive or to focus. So let me share with you to just illustrate how stress and how the work environment works hand in hand, okay? Or how does it affect each other? So the consequences of stress and having really not safe work environment can be seen in one of the movies I recently watched on Netflix. So raise hand if you have seen this movie on Netflix. Sully, who among you watched this one? Ayan, there are a lot of you. Ayan, no, I am seeing. Yan, si Isabel said me. It's nice, right? The movie is really inspiring. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen this, maybe after this session, you can take a look and watch. So Sully movie is based on a true to life crash of the US Airways flight 1549, or also known as the Miracle of Hudson. What happened is that they had dual engine failure because of a bird strike. Okay, so there's a flock of geese that blocked the engines. So both of his engines failed. But the good thing about this is that the captain, or Captain Sully, remained calm, okay, in a very stressful situation. So he was able to focus, and all the people on board, all 155 of them, miraculously survived. Okay, so what happened? Okay, I will present two cases to give you contrast. Okay, so the first one is the Miracle of Hudson, which is actually an unpreventable failure, because you wouldn't really predict when you'll have like flock of geese flying around and destroy your engine, right? But in this particular story, they have survived. All 155 people on board survived. As against to another plane crash that I will tell you about later, it's a preventable failure, okay? But unfortunately, it resulted into 583 deaths. Okay. So let me show you the conversation or the communication, right? If you're in a plane, there's a black box that records everything, right? So this is what happens, and you will really see how different the conversation is if you are in a safe work environment. All right. So the one in your left of your screen is the Miracle of Hudson. And then on the right is the Tarife disaster. Okay, so let's take the first one first. As you can see here for Captain Sully, in number 2, so the flock of geese actually destroyed both of his engine. And then he said to his co-pilot, or the first officer, that he will take over. Okay, so as you can see here, from point 4 to point 5, there was no interruption or like judgment or anything. The first officer just allowed him, okay, your aircraft, as he said here. And then after that, they also communicated with the air traffic controller and reported the accident. The air traffic controller actually gave Sully in the movie a lot of options where to land. But based on his assessment, they will not make it. So he made a decision which was supported by his first officer and also the air traffic controller. So after that, they just braced for impact and landed miraculously in Hudson River without any casualties. You can also note on item number 10, Captain Sully even asked his first officer if he has any ideas. Can you imagine, like, you are already in a very stressful situation and yet you were so composed and calm that you all also thought of asking your first officer if he had any idea. Maybe he can pitch in. Maybe he has another great idea that you want to consider. But then again, the first officer said he doesn't have one, so they just proceed with what Captain Sully has decided upon. Okay, so looking at the KLM 4805. Okay. Item number 1. What can you see? What behavior is written there? Item number 1. Yes, thank you, Verhel. The captain was already impatient. Okay? So he was impatient. The reason for the delay is that there were bomb scares during that time, so that a lot of flights were actually diverted. So Captain Van Zaten here is already very impatient because it's taking too long. Okay, and he asked item number 3. If you look at it, what is the attitude of our captain here? Yes, okay. How about, yeah, all right. From Remy, it's impulsive, okay. And he was, yeah, okay, thank you very much, Sunshine. Very arrogant at this point already. Okay, so it's already a very stressful situation, and then he is impatient, he is being arrogant, he is impulsive, and he did not wait for clearance. And to make matters worse, you can see here that they were not really given clearance, plus there's thick fog, okay? Thick fog covering the situation so that he cannot see. So that is the reason why there's like 500 plus lives lost during this plane crash. So you see here, there is really a very different ways for us in responding to stress. So if we cannot manage the stress that we are going through, then we might be like Captain Van Zaten here, who gives more stress to the people around him, unlike yeah, exactly, Bethel, the Mr. Know-It-All. Unlike Captain Sully over here, who was very calm, composed, and even had time to ask for feedback for others, even if it is a very critical situation already. Okay? So from that 2 scenarios, I already asked you the first question here, but let's answer the second one. What do you think can you change in your organization? What changes can you make so that we can actually imbibe how Captain Sully is behaving during that flight? Okay, Crystal, he didn't follow rules and wanted to be his own without considering the lives of passengers. Okay. Yan from Luning Ning. Yeah, we need to stay focused. We need to stay calm, strategic, exactly. Listen to others' opinions, communicate. Okay, yeah, very important. Open communication, keeping your cool and stress was under control. There is collaborative efforts, and you can sense that there is a respect in others' opinions, right? Being selfless, being transparent, very good. So those are the things that, you know, we can really learn from that particular scenario. So again, psychological safety actually can even be more seen, or it can be heightened in times of crisis or stressful situations, right? If, for example, you are doing something and then you're already like going towards the deadline, so how are you behaving? How are the others behaving if it's already crunch time? Are you being mean to each other, or are you there to just help each other and push forward? Saving lives in this particular scenario can be translated in our organization as saving lives, like having higher employee retention, which is one of the problems you mentioned to me a while ago that you want to solve, right? So that can be something that we can consider. Also, Saving lives can be translated in the organization as not losing great talents. That the talents that we have, those who are really good, will stay with us because they love the environment that they in, right? That there is teamwork, okay? You encourage each other. They feel valued. Unlike if you're a toxic company, the talented ones will leave you, right? They will leave you. They will just find other opportunities. The attrition will be high, exactly. And another thing that is good if we have open communication, if we have good work environment, is that people will have initiative. Okay, they will take part in the team. They will initiate cost-saving efforts. They will initiate product innovation. They will suggest, they will improve processes, challenge the status quo, all of which you have mentioned as problems you had in the past. If you have learning culture, if you have good feedback, then we can say that definitely you have cultivated a safe working environment. As I have said previously, this is not an overnight thing. There are a lot of things that we need to do in order for us to move forward and make sure that, again, just reminding you of the key elements for you to have or need to have is that you feel safe and share your ideas, not afraid to speak up, you ask questions. Everyone can actually admit uncertainty or admit to mistakes, as you have mentioned also, being open-minded. And then you are in touch with one another's feelings. In times of crisis, in times of deadlines, are we still in touch of the other person's feeling? Or are we gonna pressure them even further? Just like my boss that I have mentioned to you, instead of being mad, he chose a different approach. He encouraged me. He told me that it was okay. I don't have to worry. I just need to improve further. And I cannot forget that conversation. Okay, so if we want to cultivate this kind of working environment every day, our people need to practice it by heart. And again, as I've mentioned, it's not automatic, it's not very easy, but it can be done. So what are the things that we can do? So, well, one thing is that we need to establish a culture of openness. Okay? And with that, of course, we also need where our office mates or team members are coming from. So we need to bust some work-life balance myths. I have observed that you have answered this, a lot of you mentioned about work-life balance or having work-life balance. So let me just give you more information about it and make sure that we understand what it really means. So here, work-life balance, it's a myth that you need to spend like 50% of your time at work and then 50% of your time at home. That is not possible. In fact, we really spend a lot of time at work, right? Like 5 days, or sometimes for others, 6 days a week, 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours a day. So it's very impossible to have that 50-50. But the thing here is that, are we spending quality time? Is the time that we're spending with our work and with our family is quality? So that is the real work-life balance. It doesn't matter if it's short or long, but if it is quality, then we have work-life balance. One very good practice that I have seen is coming from Henry Ford. Okay, so Henry Ford is the founder of Ford Motors. Aside from being known as a very good car manufacturer, during his time, did you know that he was also known as an innovator in terms of how he treats employees? You can actually Google this and search for him. He was the first one to actually offer higher wages better benefits, and less working hours among all other competitors. So what does it say about Henry Ford, right? So he believes that if you treat people well, you automatically they will be motivated to help you also in your business. So that was his strategy, right? Treat your employees right, give them or offer them higher wages and better benefits. Then after a while, they will also take care of you because they have a very good work environment. Okay, second, work-life balance is synonymous to work-family balance or family support. This simply means that sometimes, okay, sometimes when we delegate stuff, sometimes we delegate more or we assign work on a holiday to someone who is single. Okay, sometimes it happens, right? Oh, you're single, you're not doing anything anyway, or you're not gonna you don't need like a holiday with family or something like that. So that's not right. Okay, so even the single employees that we have, they also need their me time or alone time. So it's not an excuse like if you give preference to those who are married or with kids or something like that. So that's not it, it's not work-life balance. All right. And then having work-life balance means getting to do everything you want to do in a day, a week, or a month. That's not true. Okay, as long as our office are operating, it's open, the work never stops. Okay, so again, we will go back to quality. Okay, so if we have like 8 hours a day, but it's all quality, you are really very productive, you are contributing to the organization, and because of that, you feel fulfilled also in your career, then, you know, you have work-life balance. Okay? So yeah, I'm just trying to also glance over the the reactions that you have about this. Okay. Jean said it takes two to tango. Employer and employee should go hand in hand. True. I agree. I agree. Okay. So yeah, there like in my experience, I had an opportunity before to work in a company who values like having fun, having time for innovation. So it was, I actually stayed in that company for quite a while because I really enjoy the environment where I can actually change some things in the organization. In fact, I even changed our logo during that time. So I and up until now they are using that logo. So I'm very happy that they liked how I wanted the design to be, because we were during that time the company was very new, fairly new. So we are actually improving. So things like that, the money or the salary is a motivator only for about 6 months. Okay, this is according to Harvard study, because the salary that we get, it's actually it only motivates you for some time, and then after a while it doesn't, because it's always there. So that is the psychology behind it. But the thing that will really motivate people more and have the drive to do more in your organization is if they feel valued. There is an intrinsic motivation. Okay? Or if you see that your ideas are being implemented in a larger scale, the recognition. Yes, I agree. So those are the things that really, for me, that is what work-life balance means. It's succeeding in both your family life, your work life, also your relationship with your office mates. Okay, so there are some things that we can actually do in order for us to make this work for our organization. Number one, okay, so practical tip number one, revisit your company core values. Are you practicing this? Do you see this in the organization or not? Okay. or it's just there. It's like a poster, nice to look at, but nobody reads it. Okay, so that's one thing that you need to do. And because I've been consulting for almost a decade now, some companies, small companies, don't have, actually they haven't written their company values. So if you are that company that you don't have company values yet, I think you should start writing it down, asking your current employees what they think, and write down your core values and live it in the organization. Okay, next is very simple that you can do: build trust and open communication. I said simple because if everybody is willing, it is simple and easy. If you start, for example, like with the open door policy, suggestion box, right? Although in suggestion box, as I have observed, some suggestion box are anonymous. Okay, I'd like to challenge you, if you do have a suggestion box, if you can encourage your employees to really write down their name. Okay, why? If they write down their name for their suggestion, it increases their accountability. And that is also something that we want to encourage if we want a psychologically safe work spaces, is that everybody's accountable. You can actually put your name on it and nobody will really judge you about that. Other things that we can do to show open communication and trust is having weekly huddles, or the coaching, okay, coaching sessions that you have. Having mentoring structure also in the company would help, okay, not only in developing your high potential, but also having sharing of best practices is really very important. So if you show that, then we can actually say that in a way we have open communication and trust with each other. Okay, and then last is to establish communication and collaboration norms. So how is this different from the second one that I mentioned? This one is clearly stated rules. Okay, for example, leveling of expectation. If I send you an email, how long should I expect a reply? Okay, or if, for example, I put you in CC, would I expect you to reply or not? Things like that, small things like that can actually cause conflict. Okay, for example, you sent an email and then you didn't get a reply at all, even a small okay or acknowledge receipt, nothing. Okay, it's like sending an email to a what's that, like a the space. Okay, sending email to space, you don't get anything back. Okay, what about the turnaround times, deadlines? Okay, so norms are very important, which you can also do in small teams. Okay, just to make sure that everybody's aligned, everybody knows what to do and who's gonna do it. Okay, I remember one time we didn't have this when I transferred in a new company. Of course, because I'm new, I didn't know also their norms of working. So our boss sent us an email, all four of us in the team, stating the agenda for the week or the things that we need to do for the week. So because it was not stated who will do what, so everybody did it. By first day, everybody's doing the same thing. And then the following week, when we found out that happened, so the following week, when the boss sent an email again, nobody did the things that she wanted us to do. So the clarity of having rules or the norms on how you communicate and how you collaborate should be established. And you need also to have system for follow through. Unlike others, for example, I'm the manager. I will ask you to do this, and then after that, I don't ask you if you're done or something. Okay, so if that always happens, people may not take it seriously. They don't know if it's really something that they need to do, or you're just bored that you want them to do it. Something like that. Okay? So Luningning also mentioned about all emails must be acknowledged and endorsed to the concerned offices. I agree. And my observation also, working with some millennials, they like to use the chat. Okay, who among you here, like if you have like a younger teammates, they like using chat to update you, to ask you questions, and then they just use the chat and expect you to immediately reply, right? And then they don't use the email anymore. But for me, I think it's very important to also document, or Viber, exactly. Yeah, it's very important to document some things, because it's very hard to like scroll up or scroll down the previous conversations, right? So millennials right now sometimes tend to like using the messaging apps instead of the email, which I think is the formal way of doing things. So if you haven't really discussed that with your team, it might result to the miscommunication that you are having. So you need to really write down and agree on the norms that you want to do in your team. Okay? Yes, I agree. In the advantage of having the messaging apps. It's just maybe I'm part of the elder millennial in a way that I still feel that it's more formal if we have like emails, or like we chat and then we follow through that with email to finalize what was discussed. And yes, I agree with you, Mary. Sometimes the chat is too long, and then you're like, why not just call each other and then get this over and done with in a phone call, right? So those things, so simple things that can annoy you, that we actually need to do, can help in collaboration, better collaboration, and follow through of things. There might be a lot of great ideas in the chat, but because you didn't write it down, or you didn't have a system to capture those ideas, then it will be put to waste. Okay, yan. I agree sa no? Email for records purposes. All right. So those are the three things that we can do right away, so that we can start our journey in a having a psychologically safe environment. Any questions? Okay. Or maybe there were questions a while ago that I was just not able to read. Questions po?
I actually have a lot of questions here that was sent to me, April. So is it okay if I read them while waiting for our participants? By the way, for those of you who'd like to ask a question, you can click the raise hand button and we'll allow you to ask your question directly to our speaker, or type them here in the chat box. Or if ever you want to remain anonymous, you can type the question, send it to me privately. When I read it, I won't be reading your names, like the ones that are sent here to me a while ago. So let me read the first one. Okay, this one. What are the possible coping mechanisms when work really affects our mental health in a negative way?
Coping mechanism. It differs from person to person, but in general, some might withdraw or just be quiet, isolate themselves. So if you see a person like choosing not to join you during lunch hours, or right now we are working from home, if they are always MIA, missing in action, or they react to the conversation late in the day, maybe it's nice to check in with them privately or on their own. Others, okay, the response would be very aggressive. They can be disruptive during your official meetings, okay? And you'll also see that they are irritated most of the time. So it's very different for each person how they manage or cope with stress. But I guess as leaders, we need to be really observant of them and then catch it early on before it gets worse. Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question. Okay. What is the common behavior of a person with a psychological problem?
Common behavior. Psychological. Okay. Can we clarify the that kind of question? Because I think that most of us, there would be times that when we are under a lot of stress, we can't, well, the one indicator would be unable to focus, okay, or unable to submit reports on time, inaccurate reports, or you see that person spacing out. Okay, so those are the indicators, but not really like, I don't want to call it like a psychological problem that might be misconstrued as something medical. So it's not, it's just that they are undergoing a lot of stress. So let's just put it at that. Maybe they're just anxious, they're under a lot of stress. So it's not actually a psychological problem, but it's just a hump in the road. Okay, hump in the road that, of course, as a leader or as their peers, something that we can help them get through.
Okay, thank you. Next question. We are currently on a remote or work from home setup. How can we ensure the psychological safety of our colleagues and teammates when we only see them virtually?
Yes, okay. I agree that it's really been difficult, especially I read after the pandemic, there are a lot of people who feel isolated because you don't see each other anymore, right? And because of that feeling of isolation, the stress levels are even higher and they feel disconnected. So, how can we ensure that everybody's actually okay? Again, look for the indicators that I have shared. If they are still able to speak up during the meetings, they are sharing their ideas, they are still asking questions, they are engaged, in your chat groups, perhaps in the meetings. Nag-on ba sila? Are their cameras on or it's always off? Okay, so if it's always off, you have to ask them, can you try to put it on? Or maybe that's one of the norms that you can ask for your office mates, that when we have a meeting, because this is the only time that we are meeting, can you please turn on your cameras? Things like that. Then you can check if they're okay or not.
Thank you for that. I think that's really helpful. Next one, it was sent here in the chat box, but sent privately. So here's the question. Okay, how do you keep yourself motivated to go to work? Recently, I am feeling burnt out. Like, I wake up only because of the bills and the expenses.
Oh, that's a very sad situation to be in. But my suggestion is, please take a break. Okay. So I think you need to file that vacation leave. Okay. Take a break. Um, take this time to enjoy yourself. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's one thing that you haven't or you miss doing that you can't do because you're so stressed at work. Take a break and then come back stronger. Now, probably the next question is, what if my boss will not allow me to? Okay, then you have to really tell the truth. Again, psychological safety in the workplace emphasizes being honest, having that honest conversations, right? So you have to really tell the boss that I really cannot work anymore because I'm so burned out. Okay. And then there is also a private message to me, Kate, about how to deal with. Hang on. This is the second one. I'll read the first one first. How do you manage when the company you are in don't have boundaries? Okay. Unfortunately, and I will be very honest with this, I guess you are not aligned with how they are. So maybe you can find opportunities elsewhere if that is the case, because you cannot change the organization by yourself if you don't see others are also having troubles like you do, or if it's like an accepted culture, for example. Because I'm basing this, the way I read it, it's like you're saying they really don't care or they don't have boundaries. So if that is the case, it simply means you are a square peg in a round hole, something to that effect. Okay, so yeah, as hard as it may sound, maybe you need to explore um, another workplace. Okay, and then another question here: how can we deal with a boss that do not value mental health and says that it is only for the weak-minded? Okay, again, I think this is coming from not really appreciating or understanding that different people handle stress differently. And sometimes, like if you're already a leader, you're a boss, uh, you think everything's easy. Okay, I actually, when I was a first time manager, I was like too hard on a particular person, and because I think that she was not really exerting enough effort, something like that, because my mind was closed at that time. But when I had the realization that, each individual has a different way of coping, learning, and responding to each situation. You just have to really be open about it as well. So how do you deal with that particular boss? Well, you can try to give that person feedback, okay, if it's possible. But based also on how the question was phrased, I feel like this boss is also closed-minded. So I don't know. It depends also on your organization if you can go directly to the HR. So you can actually ask also for support or help, to make sure that this will, because the thing is, the very tricky situation here is that if you will give feedback and then this boss will not take it openly, okay, then it might lead to like even more conflict between you and that person. Okay, so this is a very tricky situation. So I think my best bet is for you to really assess, okay, assess your current situation. If you can actually give him feedback, do so. If you feel that it's safe, so do so. If not, look at HR. Can they help you? If not, again, then it's like my previous response. Maybe you are also not boss fit or culture fit in that particular organization.
Okay, thank you. Next question, this one. Okay, how do we deal with employees who refuse help, but it's very obvious that they are experiencing psychological stress here in the workplace?
Okay, so it is possible that when people are depressed or undergoing stress, the defense mechanism would be telling you they are okay. So it is a defense mechanism, right? So what we can do is to help them from a distance. Like you're there, you're observing them, and if you see that they will fail, you're there to catch them. Okay, when that time comes. But if they insist that they're okay, you have to also trust them, remember, right? You also have to trust them that they can do it. Okay, so it's a balancing act of empowering. And of course, if you are their leader or their manager, I know how you feel. I know you want to save them from that kind of stress, but we can only do so much. It is still the decision of that person if they will accept the support and help that you want to give.
Okay, another question here. I think this person is from a school setup. How do we deal with persons who are excellent with students but toxic and they have anger management issue when it comes to their co-workers. Mm.
Okay, maybe the co-workers need to go like have a team building or something like that to talk about their differences and try to work it out. Okay, especially so if it really affects the productivity at work. So it's the only way. We're adults here. I think we should be like strong enough to face that situation or really talk it out. Okay, like adults do.
That is so true. Yes. Okay. Next question. Again, it was sent to us anonymously. Okay, here we are conducting mental well-being survey to our employees every year. We observe that the quantitative results do not truly reflect the qualitative data that we have, those gathered from interviews, FGDs, small group discussion. Any tips on how we can reconcile the discrepancies? Should we just focus on the qualitative data?
Mm, okay. I don't know. Of course, we can't see how. Okay, based on the statement, you already did everything. You have a survey, because initially when I was listening, if it's just a survey, then you can do the FGD, right? But you already validated it, and it still seems it's not fit. So maybe you need something else. Probably an assessment center would, help you in really finding out where the gaps came from. And also, is this something that affects or has a really great impact on the way you do things? So I am not quite sure why is it like that, because I know, like, for example, you do a survey and you see a discrepancy, you can do an FGD, go back to it, and then you'll find out what's wrong. Unless the people are really not telling the truth. So it's a very difficult thing to really solve if that is the case. If they are not really being honest or something. Or maybe try one-on-one. I don't know. Okay. Which will take a lot of time. So it's it it's a balance between, like, if it's really affecting you or the results at work, then we need to dig deeper. If it's not, then yeah, it's okay, we can go just take it as it is and do whatever it is that we can do about the things that we have identified.
Okay, next question. How do you help or motivate a staff who assures you that his or her work is complete and perfect? But when you check, there are still things that needs to be edited. Before you let them do the work independently, they need to earn the trust of the boss first.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think that is where mentoring comes in. So in mentoring, you don't leave the person to do it by themselves until you get to a certain point, or you get to a performance, the performance parameters that you want. So you don't, like, there are 4 stages in mentoring kasi, Kate, no? So probably this particular situation, you the person who was managing this person have not yet achieved the final stage of mentoring. So that's the reason why if you check the work, it's still not accurate, or it's still not very good. So if that's the case, you still need to do a lot of one-on-ones with that person, shadowing, okay? Or if you don't have much time to do all that, get your high potential person or your OIC to help you, okay? Because people learn differently as well. So some are faster than others. So maybe you have coached them, but some people might get it faster than others. So maybe this particular person needs more push, more help, so that the accuracy of his work will be better.
Okay, thank you. I think we're down to our last question because of time constraint. Here's the question: how do we handle burnout and anxiety in the workplace?
Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of ways for you to actually handle that. One is if you are at a very emotionally charged state, okay? So you have to inform your office mates that you need to take a break. So that's the first best thing that you need to do. But if you can't, because there are pending work that you need to accomplish, then you can compartmentalize your emotion. So this is something that takes time to practice. You have to learn how to, like, if you're having conflict at home, you leave your problems at home. If you're having problems with your coworkers also, you need to be able to train your mind to focus on the things that you need to do and do not mind the noise. So that's called compartmentalization of things. Okay. Again, it's different for different people. So some might be able to do this, some might not, but you just gotta do what you have to do. So that's it. Yeah, take a walk maybe, or get ice cream, eat good food, right? Drink water, take a deep breath, count to 10. There's a lot. Actually, you can find that on Google. There are a lot of ways that you can do that. Listen to music can also help.
There you go. Thank you so much to our speaker, April. Because of that, we'd like to present you with a certificate. Let me read this. ARIVA Academy, learning development at its finest, gratefully presents a certificate of appreciation to April Salonga for generously sharing her professional expertise, invaluable knowledge, and wisdom to the delegates of Psychological Safety in the Workplace, held on October 25, 2022 via Zoom platform, signed by Chairman and Chief Strategist, Learning Event Producer J.M. Matienzo, and President and Chief Learning and Development Strategist, Michelle Irish Malonda Samson. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for our speaker, April.
Thank you everybody. And thank you for all those who stayed up until this point. Maraming salamat for the wonderful discussion. I also learned a lot from you guys in terms of the insights and also what you are currently experiencing right now. So it's really a great experience for me to be here this afternoon. Maraming salamat.
We really appreciate the sharing, and yes, you gave us a lot of practical tips, so we will be able to apply it. Thank you so much for that, April. And now, we'd like to invite all of our participants to turn on their cameras. For those of you whose cameras are not yet on, if you're able to, please do that. Let's have a group photo with our speaker. There you go. Join us in this group photo, and we'll be assisted by our technical director, Jeff.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Kate. Okay, guys, please open your camera before we start for the group picture. Come on, guys, please open your camera. Okay, let's wait for the others. Okay, I think we're good. Get ready. Show me your beautiful smiles. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, one more this time. Let's do a thumbs up naman po. Thumbs up, guys. Yan. Okay, get ready. In my count, 3, 2, 1, smile. Thank you. Back to you, Miss Kate.
Thank you so much, Jeff. In behalf of everyone from ARIVA Academy, I'd like to say thank you to all of our participants for being with us on this terrific Tuesday afternoon. We are looking forward to welcoming you again in our future learning events. But in the meantime, let us all keep safe, everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you.